is 4:35. It looks like we have a quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and call this roll here to see who's with us. Louise McClelland, Jesse McDaniel here, Teresa Tessner
here,
Evan Cox, here. William Rooks
here,
and Terry Plochet. Okay, so we have a quorum. Now, next item is adoption of the agenda.
I would like to make a motion, and Bert, correct me, we did this last time. We had some additional comments based on the current environment and the policies of the city to allow basically a telemeeting. Do we have that exact wording from the last meeting? I was not able to find it.
I didn't bring it up to review, but essentially the adoption of the agenda is necessary for the commission to undertake the minimum duties necessary given the governor's decree.
I would make a motion to accept the agenda with those additional comments.
second,
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. Okay, the ayes have it, and the agenda is adopted. I don't show that we have any minutes to approve, so I'm going to skip over that and go to treasurer's report. William, do we have a treasurer's report today?
Yes, we do. Beginning balance as of April 1st, 2020 was $33,794.07. There has been no income and no expenses, so the ending balance as of June 30th is the same amount, $33,794.07.
Okay, great. Would anyone like to make a motion on that?
I'll move that we accept the treasurer's report.
All right, I'll second that. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the treasurer's report? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. If you're in favor, please let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. All right, the ayes have it, and the treasurer's report will be approved. Okay, so we don't have any permit requests today, but we do have some important business, and wanted to start off with the request for proposal dealing with strategic planning. And this was something that we sent out last month. I believe it was June the 13th or 12th of last month. And of course, we were unable to have a quorum at the June 16 meeting. And so we weren't able to consider this formally, but we wanted to put it back on the agenda because it is obviously important. And we want to talk about it now that we have a quorum. So it is, I'll go ahead and just brief y'all real quickly. You've probably read this for yourself, but it has been discussed for some time now about possibly doing something like this to have a planning session or a working session where the tree commission can get together around some goals, talk about where we are, where we want to go. And I'm going to read to you a couple of items that we listed here in the RFP just to explain the background. The purpose of this would be to hire or solicit the services of a professional who can help us assess the current direction and resources of the tree commission, gain a consensus understanding of expectations and concerns, identify goals and strategies, develop a written plan that we could follow as a guide for our actions going forward, and then also to give a brief overview of the strategic plan once it's finished to the public at a meeting of the Tree Commission. And so that's a little bit of the background. And then you know, it's a 2.5-page document. And the only difference between this document and the document that was sent out last month is that some of the dates were changed. Obviously, because of the lack of a quorum, we couldn't consider this, and therefore the time frame was pushed back because of that delay. So I'll go over the timeline with you, and then, you know, we can, you know, talk about a motion and any further discussion. But so just as a description, the purpose is to, you know, the Mobile Tree Commission, in order to improve its service to the public, we wish to develop a strategic plan. We believe that substantive planning and debate will be very beneficial for the members of the Mobile Tree Commission as a body and as individual members to develop a consensus and to chart a way forward. Since the Mobile Tree Commission is composed of all volunteers who are lay people not skilled in the way of strategic planning, we want to secure the assistance of a professional to help us with that. And the Mobile Tree Commission wants to further refine its goals, challenges, and opportunities going forward. A strategic plan will also give Mobile Tree Commission members a roadmap to follow in the future discussions about allocations of resources and other, you know, important matters like that to help us perform the functions of the Tree Commission as it's understood in the law as well as in our bylaws. So the timeline, the request for proposal timeline would go like this. Obviously, today is July the 21st. We would, if approved, we would be issuing this today. And then, of course, we would send that out to the public and to the press. Notification of intent. This is when a bidder wants to let us know that they're planning to submit a proposal, but haven't got it ready yet, but they're going to let us know they are working on one and going to submit it to the appropriate person. So we're asking for bidders to, at a minimum, notify the contact of their intent no later than August the 7th. And we're asking for proposal submission no later than 4:30 on August the 11th. That is 1 week prior to our next Tree Commission meeting, which is on August the 18th. So the selection of the top bidder, notification to the unsuccessful bidders, we would want to do that after the Tree Commission meets to determine this on August the 18th. The need date for project completion is October 31st. That's going to give us 2.5 months to accomplish this. And it's flexible. We put language in here that allows bidders to propose a date earlier or later, and that will be evaluated with their proposal. So there is some flexibility there. This was just more or less a guideline. And we expect to spend no more than $3,000. Hopefully it will be less than that. I believe it can be done for less, but we put a cap on it to set that expectation. And then you have evaluation factors such as cost, the responsiveness to the above requirements, relevant past experience in strategic planning, and any samples of work product from a previous strategic plan that the bidder may have worked on. And of course, we have a statement in there encouraging minority firms and women-owned enterprises to please submit proposals. We wanted to make sure to include that statement because that's very important to us, and we wanted that to be reflected. So you have the document in front of you, hopefully, and you've had more than a month to review it, and hopefully we can entertain a motion at this time.
Mr. McDaniels.
Who is this?
Charlene Montero here.
Hello?
Good afternoon.
Yes.
I do have a copy of your request for your proposal, and as a general rule, I don't volunteer too much into your meetings. My position is more responding to your questions and assisting you in however the legal department can. So I do want to be brief with this comment, but I do want it to be part of your record. After reading your request and reviewing the bylaws again and the act again, I do think if you move forward with this, that you are to a large degree exceeding any kind of legal constraints on the commission. I think you need to go back to the drawing board and perhaps be a little more clear with this. The legal language we would use is that it's too vague.
Okay. All right. Miss, I don't want to cut you off, but you've had over a month to evaluate this, and I appreciate your comments, but I'm going to not recognize you at this point. So to the members of the Tree Commission, I would ask for you to, if you would like to move forward with this, to please, make a motion and we can dialogue about it further if we have a motion.
I would make a motion that we move forward with the request for proposal for the strategic planning as presented here.
All right, so we have a motion to move forward with the proposal. Do we have a second?
I'll second, just to move into the discussion part of this.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Now, is there any discussion from the Tree Commission members?
So I guess just my question in general, as we proceed with this and as we do get submissions, where are we bound to select one of these if we find that none of them meet our, I'm just trying to look at what is our A, expectations, and B, what is our, I guess what are we bound to once we go forward with this?
No, that's a great question. So the expectations are spelled out, in the document, and I can read, if I need to read the document, I can.
William, is the question about execution for the product and the process, or for how we accept the bid?
I see the scope. I see how the bid is set up. I see the evaluation factors. Everything in general here doesn't raise any necessary questions. Once we get so let's say it's scenario, once we get the bids, are we obligated to select one of those, or can we?
If we don't get a bid that meets the criteria, then we don't have anything to move forward on.
Yeah, and that's like,
William, this is simply to put out to the public request for proposals. This is not us as a Tree Commission taking an action other than advertising this to the public.
that was the only other question I had on it.
And so on August the 18th, William, we'll have that conversation and evaluate based on the factors and consider the proposals, if any come in. This is simply to put it out there and to ask if there's any bidders that want to participate and help the Tree Commission with this strategic plan.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
I get the sense or the impression that I've missed something based on, I've forgotten her name, but the attorney's comment. Has there been some previous back and forth about this?
Oh, you haven't missed anything, Evan. I think what the attorney was referring to was the state code, which if you read it, it says very clearly the tree commission can perform its work through its own agents or its employees. That's very clear that we can do this. This is simply a request for proposals to see if we have any come in who are willing to help us in this project. And so
Help you with what project, Mr. McDaniel? Perhaps I'm just misunderstanding you. I'm well familiar with Article 3, Section C that you're referring to, but I think you're taking it out of context. And I think you're about to spend money that you're not authorized to spend, but that's only an opinion. And I'm giving it to you, and I want it on your record that you've been given that opinion.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate your opinion. I'd like for you to ask to be recognized in the future. So the situation that I have struggled with for some time, and I'll just, as the chairperson, kind of give you my thoughts, is that the tree commission has, for some time now, not been performing all of its duties. And I think that over years and years of kind of autopilot meetings where we're only considering permit requests, and now we're getting to the point where we are not getting any permit requests. I personally believe we need to, as a tree commission, amongst ourselves, we need to determine our way forward, because as it is now, the tree commission is almost non-functional. So this is an effort to improve service to the public. We have an obligation to serve the public, and I, for one, take that very seriously. This is simply an effort to improve our service to the public. So I don't see that as anything dangerous. I see that as something that's absolutely necessary, as is needed for us to, as a commission, get our arms around where we are and where we want to go. I think everybody on the call wants to see adequate service to the public. So I, for one, am not interested in delaying this any further. It is perfectly within our rights to send this out. We have the funds to do it. It's, you know, this is not threatening in any way. And I think it would be ludicrous for us to delay this any further.
I'm not sure where you're getting the language threatening or dangerous. I never said that. I said it didn't match your legal constraints of the commission. Everything provided in the act is also kind of transposed over into your bylaws, and it's very, very clear. So as far as you meeting together and making your own decisions where you want to head, there's no problem with that. But you're talking about spending funds from the tree bank in order to hire somebody else to tell you what to do. And I think you certainly have the authority.
Listen, you are not recognized. So I would request that you please be respectful. You are not recognized, and I would appreciate it if you would respect this committee. Thank you very much. So is there any other dialogue?
I'm just a little, maybe, I guess I'm not opposed to moving forward with the request, but I hope that when the time comes, maybe at the next meeting, that we could have more discussion about the attorney's concerns, just because before we do commit to actually spending money.
I'm happy to do that, Evan. You know, they've had this for quite a while, just like the rest of us. So I'm happy to discuss the attorney's concerns. They've had plenty of time to bring those concerns to us. So I appreciate that. And we'll work through that.
I think high level where my head's at is, you know, we've had 30,000 sitting in the funds for a while. We've talked about, you know, we know what the bylaws say. We know the committees. We know some of the things we've done in the past, and but we have just failed to get the structure, motivation, however you want to say it. You know, if there's an opportunity to spend $3,000 to help us get back to even what we've done in the past or what the bylaws say we should be doing, and we can get somebody to help us give us that focus, I think in the long run, that's definitely worth the conversation and worth reaching out to see if we can find. Maybe we get the bids back and we find that people are not going to tell us anything we don't already know, right? So that's why just my main concern was, you know, once we go forward with this, that it lock us in the obligations, that it send us down a slippery slope. And, you know, at this point, I think it's worth it to try to get some of that structure we know we should have. And so if we could find somebody to help do that, I think it's a worthwhile conversation.
I agree. Is there any other discussion? Teresa, do you want to say anything?
I just echo where William's coming from. You know, I'm a fairly new member to the Tree Commission, and I do see that, you know, I think we could be doing a lot more if we could just kind of figure out how to, you know, if we could get a strategic plan together. So, and I do think it's going to need some, I think it's probably going to need some professional input. I think that would greatly facilitate what we can manage to do. So I agree with William.
All right.
I have one more question, just respectfully, Jesse. Are you opposed to just asking? I don't personally. I'm just getting nervous about getting sideways of the law. If there is an opinion to the contrary, as far as could we hear her opinion? I mean, it doesn't seem like we're doing anything wrong, at least by moving forward, just requesting proposals, not committing any funds or anything. But I'm sort of curious if she disagrees with that, and if so, what the reason would be.
I'm not clear on your question, Evan. What was the question?
My question is whether the attorney thinks that we're somehow in violation of the state code just by moving forward with the request.
She's already told you the answer to that. She thinks that we are, or at least that's what she said. So, you know, I disagree with that. The state code's very clear. So I think that to obstruct the process now is irresponsible. We've had this for over a month. Maybe y'all didn't read it. I don't know, but it's really irresponsible to wait until the meeting to raise concerns.
I've read it, and I'm not an attorney, so I mean, I just get a little nervous when there is an attorney, and I haven't heard from it before, and I gather that none of the staff. I'm not opposed to this at all. I want to be clear. I'm inclined to vote for it. I'm not at all opposed to it. I just don't want to do something we're not supposed to do.
I understand, and I invite the city to give their thoughts, you know, prior to the next meeting. You know, that would be great, but I don't want us to delay this any further. It just seems so irresponsible. But everyone seems to have had an opportunity to, you know, dialogue. So we have a motion and a second, and I'd like to call for the question now. All of those in favor of moving forward with the request for proposals, as we've discussed, please let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those who are opposed, please say no. All right, so the ayes have it, and we'll move on to the next item. Funding for RFP public notice ad in the Lagniappe. As you may or may not know, the Lagniappe is a local newspaper that's circulated through Mobile County. It is, they run ads, probate ads, requests for proposals are run in the Lagniappe. This is a legal notice. So we're just gonna post it like you would any other RFP. So that way that the public can have knowledge of this and that whoever reads it can submit a proposal if they have skills in strategic planning. It's just simply a way to advertise this for bidders. I have checked with the Lagniappe, and their quote to me was, bear with me, I'll bring it up for you. $330.98. So let me explain what that $330.98 would be for. Again, it would be to run this RFP in the Lagniappe legal ads, the legal section of the paper, which is a free paper distributed throughout Mobile County for the purposes of publicizing this to the public. And that would allow this document to be run in its entirety in the July 29th edition, as well as the August 5th edition of the Lagniappe. And according to the timeline we have in the document here, we have asked for notification of intent by August the 7th at 4:30 p.m. So that would give us 2 publication times before that particular deadline of intent. And then, and of course, all of this information would be printed in the Lagniappe for people to know and to follow. So do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to fund the RFP public notice ads, the 2 sequential as you described.
I would second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to run this in the Lagniappe as proposed for the public notice and solicitation. Is there any further discussion on that?
Bert, is it safe to assume the city's not gonna put this on their website?
I'm sorry, Evan, what?
I was asking Bert if it's safe for us to assume that the city's not gonna put this one on their website.
Well, I would think that we have the ability to at least put it on the Tree Commission's portion of the Build Mobile website. I'm not sure about the main city website. I would have to move that up, the administration.
Evan, you know, the Tree Commission section of the Build Mobile has Tree Commission agendas, minutes. This would be a part of the record. It would be available there as a part of the official documentation from these meetings. So, and plus running it in the Lagniappe is a step that would be broad, and this is a free publication that they told me approximately 40,000 readers a week. So, you know, it has a large audience, and we're just to be safe, we're talking about running it twice. So that way, you know, if you didn't catch it the first week, maybe the second week you did.
I would say though, if there's a way on the Tree Commission just to kind of highlight on its own, I mean, I don't think it can hurt, right? I mean, any eyes we can get, I think that'd be useful if there's a way to do that, Bert.
Okay.
Sure. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All of those in favor of the motion to run this in the Lagniappe as proposed, please let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Hearing none, the ayes have it. And we can move on to the next item. Let me pull up I misplaced
Urban
my.
Forestry report.
Okay, so at this point, we'll turn it over to Peter if he wants to give us a report.
You muted, Peter.
There. I think y'all can hear me now.
There you go.
Let me hit share screen. Can everybody see the report?
Yes.
All right. There should be a PDF and a Excel version out to you guys. We had roughly 172 locations that we serviced in the month of June. It includes our in-house crew and our 3 subcontractors. It's in your mailbox. We had quite a few weather events during the month of June. We were quite busy across the board. You can see work order numbers. You can see where the police called us multiple times on road blockages, things of that nature. It's been a busy month.
What's your estimate now for your backlog? Are you starting to catch up now that you've got the other,
Let me look and see. We have roughly about 450 to 500 items right now that are out there. Yeah, that's roughly that's out there right now. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this other report up. Pardon me 1 second. All right, Teresa, this should answer a lot of your questions. Right now, we have, these are our different groups of the work that we have out there right now. We have 305 low limbs, either over city streets or over sidewalks. We have 129 removals that have been verified by the ANSI A300 Part 9 tree risk assessment standards. We have 87 trash and city garbage truck obstructions out there. These 72 that are in our pending work right now represent either debris or some type of follow-up work from some storm-related damage. We have 37 stumps. You can see that we have quite a bit out there. This is our completed work for fiscal year 2020 so far. 500. Pardon me while my wife tries to call. But as you can see across the board, we've had 319 emergencies come out. There's this, I can actually send you guys a PDF with all this, I believe. Right here is our pending work. We have 302 from 2020, and we have some other various groups where either we're having to verify a right of way or just some various follow-ups that need to take place. This is our completed work by month in a bar graph. This shows it in a line graph. This shows you the contributions of our subcontractors, which have been tremendous out here. Administration, there's 280 locations that either myself or Joel have gone to when our crews have been busy. It's either been a simple limb in the road or things of that. Down here in completed work, this shows you the percentage of how our subcontractors, our main crew is in blue. And then you have Kane's Tree Care. They've contributed 10%. Chris Francis Tree Care is at 7%. Top Notch Tree Care is at 6%. And administration, myself and Joel have finished out 5% of the work orders out there. Down here, the current inspection types that we have out, we have 62 low limbs, 32 remove. We have 32 removal requests that we have to go inspect. We have some hazard trees on private property we have to go inspect. So there's categories across the board. This is our completed work from fiscal year 2019. And this is what I call the tree preservation section, to where we've had 647 requests between the year 2019 and 2020, to where there's been no justification of work from the city, or if it's a removal request based on the indications of the inspection from whatever certified arborist went on location, there was no justification in either removing the tree, trimming the tree, or performing any work on it. And that's the data that we keep, and it's always consistently growing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, any other questions for Peter? All right, hearing none, we're going to move on to Eric. If you are on the call and have a report, we would invite you to give that report at this time. Is Eric still with us?
He is still listed as participant, so
Okay.
he should still be here.
All right. Well, okay. Well, I guess no report from Eric on the Alabama Power side. So that concludes the business of the agenda. Are there any announcements from the Tree Commission members? All righty, well, hearing none, I guess we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. The ayes have it, and we are adjourned. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.